Hi everybody, it's Steve, D9 Games. Gonna whip up two characters here on this video, and I've already drawn them up. Let's make it a little easier using the PDF, page 34, 35, and 12. 12 for the occupations, somewhere between 13 and 30 or 40 for the class, 34, 35 for the stat chart and the offensive tier chart. So, and I think it's page 35 for the how to create a character on the PDF. So the fighter we're going to draw up is, we figured out we're going to start with 200 points of progression, which is roughly 6 or 7 years of mundane adventuring and hanging around town, helping out the elders, whatever the case may be. You generally give your players 30 points per year prior to the adventuring life. So 200 pop is a lot. That's equal to about level 2. 100 pop would be level 1. And so this is basically a level 2 fighter. And if you're getting 30 points a year, that's almost 7 years. So we figure you start getting into the fold in 300 BC Albion at about 13 years old. So this guy's 19. So right over here, we put a 19. And there's 200 points of progression. We spent 180 on this guy. So fighters, in order to get the fighter package, you need 7s on physical and coordination. So we went ahead and buffed him to 8 because he's level 2. He's got some stats going in. And we just started a campaign last couple Wednesdays ago where we started with 0. I think we got an occupation, and then we started with 0. And in that particular campaign, we said the occupation is free, and you get 10 pop to bump up one of your stats. So in this one, we're actually charging ourselves 10 pop for an occupation. So we spent 70 to get from a 5 to an 8, 70 to get from a 5 to an 8, that's 140. And then we're adding 30 for the fighter package, gets to 170. And then our fighter Ned is a thug. So that's his prior occupation is a thug. So that takes him to 180. 170 plus 10, 180. Okay. So with our 8 score, we have an 885, and then his defense, where we add mental and coordination, getting 13 divided by 2 is 6.5, rounded up to 7, and he's not encumbered whatsoever because he's only wearing some leather pants, some kind of a, I don't know what it is, half a shirt and a belt. So with no encumbrance, he's running 7 for his defensive score. In order to get the targets calculated, we subtract the score from 18. So 18 minus 8 is 10, 10, 18 minus 5 is 13, and 18 minus 7 is 11. So those are his targets, 10, 10, 13, 11. Scores being 8, 8, 5, 7. His offensive tier, when we add his physical and coordination, is 16. And on the chart, that puts us at a tier 2. So he's able to use weapons of up to tier 2. And his bonus damage at tier 2 is 3. So in his case, he's not running any weapons. He's using his fists in melee. So he gets all the bonus damage. But his fists can only go to a tier 1. So where normally you would be adding your tier of weapon, which in this case would be 2, to the bonus damage, which is 5, he's getting a 4. So it's kind of scribbled there, but I put a 4 because he's only using his fist. He's only using a tier 1 weapon. He could grab a tier 2 weapon and start doing 5 damage on top of his overroll, but right now, with his Fists of Fury, he's only running a 4. If he throws anything, he's getting his tier of weapon, whether it be a knife or, I don't know, a bow and arrow or something. He would be adding 2 to the overroll, but not the bonus damage. Bonus damage you only add if you're adjacent to your target. So I have him down with leather, which is 0 encumbrance and absorbing 1. So if he gets hit, he's taking all but 1 of the damage dealt because of his leather. And that is that up to health. So health is 2p. 2 physical is 16, and half of mental in this case would be 2.5, rounded up to 3. So 16 plus 3 is 19. So his max health is 19. And then as a fighter, He's got, we're just going to give him what it has on the recommended, which is a flint and steel, hammer and pythons. And then when we flip over his sheet, take a look at his progression journal. So his parents were farmers. He's a bit of a brawler. Yeah, they were kind of tired of his shit. He turned 19. They said, you know what, go defend our town. We're tired of you getting into brawls all the time, getting into trouble. Dad has to bail you out. And as a fighter, he's gaining acrobatics, giving him a die of ease, doing anything acrobatic. Leadership. Now in this case, it's more of a, now people want to hang with him because he's kind of a safe friend to have. Maybe he's a brawler fighter, so he can earn people's loyalty and join his cause. And STP is share the pain. So if he's fighting in melee, any extra damage dealt can be carried on to an adjacent foe, adjacent to the foe or him. So depending on where they're at, pretty flexible there. And then he has charge, so he can move up to 6 spaces and still have an action, where the standard character in our game can only move up to 4 spaces and get an action. So that's it for the fighter. That is our thug fighter Ned. All right, 19 Ned, parents farmers. All right, what else do we have? His buddy, with his leadership, he's able to get his buddy Ted the guard brewer. We're going to say these guys are kind of parallel friends together. We're going to give them both 200 pop because they're kind of associating and doing the same thing in town. But this guy likes to put it on with some hide, a morning star, and a medium-sized shield. So he's kind of the guardian, not much of a brawler. He likes to get his effects involved to help him and his buddy Ned. So on the guard now, we're going to go with guard. In the book, you only need to have your physical up to about 8. So we're going to go with the same 200 pop we used for Ned and say he's going to go up to 9. So he's going to upgrade 4 times on his physical, which takes him to a 9, and that would be, I believe it's 150 points to get to a 9. So that uses all but 50. 30 for guard, 10 for his occupation brewer. I don't know why he's a brewer. We just kind of pulled that out of our hat. And so he's going to run. He had a little extra, so we said, you know what? We're going to give him some coordination just for kicks. So 9 physical, 6 coordination, 5 mental. Defense, mental plus coordination is 11. Divided by 2 is 5.5, rounded up to 6. And he has 1 encumbrance. Because of guard, he's got a talent called unencumbered. So it deducts 1 encumbrance from anything he's using, which would be his hide, which normally has a 1 encumbrance, takes it to 0, and his medium-sized shield normally has 2 encumbrance, takes him to a 1. So his total encumbrance right now is 1. So when you go back to his defense calculation, M plus C divided by 2 minus 1 is a 6, minus 1 is 5. So it's kind of scribbled, but I had to fix it. Is a 5, making his target a 13. The targets, as you know, 18 minus score. 9 from 18 is 9. 18 minus 6 is 12. 18 minus 5 is 13, and the same thing for defense. His offensive tier happens to be the same as Ned's. Not as high, but still in the bracket of having offensive tier 2. So he's able to use tier 2 weapons. In this case, his Morning Star is a tier 2 weapon. So with that, he gets his bonus damage of 3, plus the weapon is 5. So he's going to add 5 to the overroll on a success when he's dealing damage with this Morning Star. If he throws anything, he still gets his 2. If he's using a tier 2 weapon, but no bonus damage on that. So we've got 5 in melee, a 2 if thrown with a tier 2 weapon, 2 if he's just has his hide and not using his shield, and 5 is the absorption if he's using his shield to defend himself. So that's quite a tank there. His health is 2p, which is 18 plus half mental, rounded up 3. 18, 3 is 21. And then based on the starting package advice of the PDF, he's going to have a tent grappling hook and a rope as his starting gear. So what else for the guard? He gets, like we mentioned, unencumbered. So it's a -1 to anything armor-wise, like his hide and his shield. Intimidate, so he can roll against somebody or something's morale in order to earn an intimidation. Tank, he can also roll against morale to cause somebody's attention to be drawn to him. And then Guardian gives him a 1 degree of difficulty on his defense if he chooses to aid an ally with his defensive abilities, which is normally his shield. So for example, as a defender in his lane, he's going to have ease when defending. So he's going to say, keep my ease, I'll go standard roll, and I'll add a degree of ease to my ally here. So shielding the ally while fighting with the Morningstar. Kind of cool. And I didn't mention Ned's fighter standard ability. If he's fighting in melee, he rolls with 1 degree of ease. So he's almost always going to be fighting with a degree of ease in melee. Unless he's throwing something, then he loses that degree of ease. But that's not his shtick. Okay? So 1 degree of ease fighting in melee. 1 degree of ease defending. And those are our fighter, Ned, and our guard, Ted, fighting for the greater good of Albion. Until next time, peace.